Ataya, and now we have Eleni Kitra from Facebook joining us. Eleni, we heard Rabia talking about how a startup has been handling the crisis, and you're, I suppose, at a different place. A big company that maybe is a bit of a startup, but is much bigger than a startup. So, how are you guys handling the situation?
Well, I think we still feel like a startup because we do so many different things. We try to always, create products and services that address the needs of the people. So we always are in this mode of creating and introducing. How we do? I think it's difficult for everyone. We also have times where we have to think again and again how we move forward. If I say that in a very concise way, is that we try to move very fast on everything that's happened, and try to be reactive at the right moment, but also be proactive, looking into what will happen next. And I think one of the key things we saw very much is that how we moved from being, voluntarily working from home to be having and go into the mandatory work from home across the whole world. And each one of us, we had to be understanding that we should be doing business as usual, but at the same time, we needed to address the situation with more care for each one of us, and also for our clients and partners everywhere.
I think Facebook is quite known for, being dynamic and changing features and things and adapting to the times as quickly as possible. And so I suppose in this time, it's really, the time where you have to be versatile. How's that affecting you personally? How's it changed your job?
Well, the thing is that for us, working from home or doing so much through a digital and integrated way, it's it's a way of working. It's how we do things all the time. It's not so different. On a personal level, and this is where you really see how much the human interaction plays a huge role. That even if you do everything from home and you don't waste time into commuting or trying to organize meetings, it's draining you. That having to be stuck in front of your laptop for 12, 14 days and try to make things work. I'm not even mentioning the stress of running the business, keeping your partners and your colleagues, up in good spirit, and at the same time trying to see how you're going to solve for the future, because what we're doing right now and what we're experiencing is not situational for now. We're getting into that. We're adjust ourselves, but we need to prepare for later on. So
which might look completely different and many different things. So yeah,
it will.
absolutely.
It will. I mean, it will be a fairy tale. We say, oh, we go back to normal. It's not going to be back to normal. It's going to be back to where we started when the whole thing kicked off, and we'll try to adjust ourselves in a way which I hope to tell you to be better, because I'm always very positive that what we can do after.
Okay, that's good to be positive. So Eleni, at Facebook, you have multiple roles. I saw your job description, and it's I know you handle mobility and automotive, but you also handle some internal culture and
yes,
some different initiatives internally. So tell us a bit about that. What do you do at Facebook, and what are your different roles?
Okay, so that's one of the good things that has to do with the company work, that you can be in one role, but at the same time, if you have passion for something else, you can actually step in and take the lead or contribute to that. So yes, I'm leading the automotive mobility vertical business. It's a job I'm paid for, actually. And but the other two passions I have is corporate culture and people. And I do that for the Middle East, North Africa region, based out of Dubai, where we are. And my focus is to strengthen the culture we have as Facebook and create a trusted environment for people to grow personally and professionally. And my women at role is, I think we're very known of our support to gender equality and women empowerment and what we do across the board and on a global level. So my role is to represent the women across EMEA and take activities, how to make them connect, innovate, and engage themselves and grow within the role they are.
I want to know a bit more about that in a bit. But before we go there, I just wanted to ask you, since your day job is the automotive part.
Yes.
How's that doing?
Right now, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the automotive industry is, in general, I think, in a transformation phase anyway, from selling cars as vehicles to go into
mobility,
automotive as a service, mobility, and have a more people-centric approach. The challenge at the moment is that this balance between OEMs, the companies that produce the cars, the actual vehicles, and the dealerships, they cannot work at the moment. All the dealerships are closed, so people cannot go physically to visit and touch any of the cars that exist in the showrooms. And the automotive industry is going very fast into how they can transform digitally and try to bring the car to the customer and not bring the customer to the car. And this whole transformation and this whole change of thought process, I think it's great, but it happens in a very stress form at the moment. And every, of course, OEM is
as we were saying, I think like everything that would have happened in a more gradual way is now sort of happening extremely fast because of the necessity of transforming the way things are done. And as other industries are being hit, I think the automotive industry specifically, especially in the region, because of the setup of different dealerships and the way it works, it's even more difficult to get to that transformation.
Yeah. But the OEMs are getting into that. You see the way they think, and they try to speed up the whole process within their companies.
All right. So I'm more interested in these times about your role with people, because people are always the most important asset of a company. Everybody says it, but then, saying it is one thing. And then when it comes in these times of crisis, I think companies that actually commit to that promise to their people and to protect them in a time of crisis is really where that shows. So how are you handling a crisis when you're responsible for people in an organization, when a lot feel that their job may be at risk, when a lot feel that the future is uncertain? What are you guys doing? And I think your experience, but also how do you think a lot of people should be handling this when it comes to their people?
Well, I don't think there are golden rules here. It's more about how you really think about people and you authentically care about them. So for us, this is part of our DNA. So in this situation, we continued doing the thing we were doing before, and we had, I could say, 3 pillars, which is the pillar of grow, develop people within their role and their career, the pillar of belonging, how they can feel an integrated part of the company, of the region, of the team they are, and the diversity and inclusion pillar, which is about trying to make the whole team diverse and inclusive.
But what are you doing these days beyond the usual sort of corporate mission?
So this has not changed. The foundation has not changed, because these are the brilliant basics. Okay. But what we've tried to do on top of that is make these pillars relevant even in a virtual world, and keep providing solutions for people to be trained at all the times, creating virtual occasions for people to connect together, even if it's not for a business reason, not only for business meetings, but doing virtual coffees, doing fitness sessions, doing cooking sessions, doing even support lines, so we can actually just have a chat 12 o'clock in the night. And at the same time, we have developed a whole toolkit, what it means to work from home, how you can actually set up your own room to have the right infrastructure, advice on how to manage your time, the time zones, how to care for yourself, take time for that, how to fuel. So we do fuel sessions about how to keep your sanity, mental and bodily, in a good shape, because otherwise you will not be able to progress. And this pays back in a way that you see people active and in an effort to contribute, support each other, and of course contribute to the company as well.
Okay. Okay, I think that's great. But also, I wanted to know a bit more about the Women App Initiative, and I think that's a topic that is very interesting to a lot of people. We had a chat briefly a few times, you and I, and we spoke about gender equality and how these transformations are affecting that. How do you see that from that role that you're doing at Facebook, by your general activity in that specific space?
So we had actually a very interesting conversation this morning with our EMEA VP and all the women that represent the 23 offices that we have across EMEA about what we can do to support women. So we know things will change dramatically. We see cases, and not from women in the company, but we know that they're spending more time at home creates a different balance for good, but also imbalance for the bad. And I'll give you a bit of more context what I mean. Working from home, both partners and both parents create automatically the need to share the responsibility for the kids, for the people that at home, and you have to take care of them. This creates a habit. So I think it will also be a good outcome when we go out of this crisis and we know what it means to be, homeschooling your kids, taking care of them, and all that stuff. However, when it comes to how women are going to be working after we finish that, we know that a number of industries which have a concentration of women may be highly affected, and we would see women not being able to get a job, or being the first ones as other groups to be taken out of the production, group and go and focus more on the men. Internally, what we're trying to do is that keep women as we were, up and running, training them, creating the right ecosystem for them to develop skills, and really support the way we operate, so we don't have any kind of loss because of the situation and because of any kind of gender or other variation of women.
So I wanna recap that, because I find it very interesting. So you're saying the positive thing about the situation when it comes to gender equality is it sort of balances the roles while people are at home and they have to, take care of the kids and the house, but also do the work from home.
It's an opportunity.
But the negative, it's an opportunity to do that. Okay? Absolutely, yeah. It's an opportunity. But at the same time, the negative thing is when we go back to normal, some of the jobs, because of the previous inherent biases that we've had in the job market, where women have not had roles in certain places where they should be, we'll see that they may be affected in practical terms before some men. I think it's very interesting in the same context of when we're talking about accelerating a lot of trends and how actually achieving that gender equality can be something that maybe this crisis can help us do quicker. I saw this article the other day about how all the nations that have women leaders, from New Zealand to Germany to other, are actually doing much better in the crisis. And so maybe, that leadership that can start emerging in different roles, how do you think that can happen in the coming months that maybe would have taken years? Do you think there's an opportunity there as well?
Well, I just want to say that I don't like to say, women do better than men, because I don't.
No, of course, inclusive. But it's just it's an interesting angle, I think.
But it was a very interesting angle, and maybe this has to do with the thing that the way they approached the whole situation, it was more proactive or more caring, and taking aside other stuff. But I think, as your previous speaker, Rabia, said before, that in every crisis there is an opportunity. And the biggest thing here is, for me, no matter if you're a man or a woman, is that don't drop the ball. Don't drop the ball on what you were doing before. Just go ahead, take the opportunity, see the different things happening, how the whole system changes, and just go for that. And I think we live in a country where it's supportive of where is the real talent and where is the real benefit and where is the real opportunity. So I wouldn't worry so much if you're a man or woman. I would worry more if you're ready to adjust in a situation where you need to change the way you approach life.
You can be versatile enough to understand the changes and adaptability.
very much.
I think that's a lesson that we're all learning as we go, right? That adaptability and versatility can become very valuable. Okay, last thing I want to talk to you about before we wrap it up. Facebook as a platform is very relevant to a lot of users around the world. In times such as these, there's even more responsibilities on these platforms that enter everybody's home, that are in the palm of your hand, and that we're constantly trying to sort of get news from and update. How do you see that responsibility in general? I know you're not the spokesperson, but internally, how do you guys handle that responsibility as a team?
So I can tell you this is first priority, because when we all start all the conversations about what we do for the community outside of Facebook, what is the role we still play. And that's why, if you saw, we have done a number of things in order to protect the content that is being distributed by, through our platforms, that is trustworthy, it's the real content, supporting SMEs, supporting the health system in order to try to find the cure, or at least try to track better any kind of symptoms. So, and it's at the second level, although we're a commercial company, what's going to be the revenue that's coming to our way? Just to give you an idea, even now that we know things are very difficult, and we're we're the sales team here, and my role is a sales role. It's not about how much money we're going to bring to the company. It's about what is the kind of value we can bring to the community and the ecosystem we live in, because that's where we are. We need to be part of this and support it 100%. So yeah, I'm not going to say things that probably a PR or a comms person would say to you, but this is the priority we have at the moment, how we support the ecosystem that supports us to be in the same play area.
Okay, great. Any last words of advice that you want to tell us, from your perspective and this experience that you've had?
I think that we all learn from the beginning right now completely. And, as a mother of two teenagers, and I see how they respond, sometimes I feel that they respond to the situation in a more mature way than I do. And actually, I learn from them. So let's try to think that we have to learn from this phase, and don't drop the ball. Don't drop the ball.
Okay,
that's my only
perfect.
Thing.
Thank you so much, Eleni. It was great talking to you.
Thank you very much, Nizar, for that conversation. I hope it added value.
All right.
Thank you, Nizar and Eleni, for your time. Everyone, thanks again for tuning in. And we know we've had some difficulties with our first session with Fadi. And we're just going to give 5 more minutes, and we'll let you guys know what's next.